have one, I don't know if it should have gone under new business or not, but I reached out to Mr. Lugo to thank him for the grant monies that the Norwich Foundation was able to obtain for us to help with the security of this building here. And in talking with him, we briefly touched on the possibility that there may be monies for next year for additional security or other projects that we needed. And he said for us to start thinking about that and kind of coming up with what we think is the next thing that we need to address, whether it be recreation or safety or, you know what I mean, wherever we want to go with it, and start working towards that and create an open dialogue with him to see if there's a way that the township will be able to help us again next year with something, with another project, excuse me.
Thank you. Any other board comments? Great, thank you. Discussion. I need a motion to.
So I want to remove E from the consent agenda.
Great, so we'll move E to a separate item. Discussion. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Belfiore?
Yes.
Mr. Ludstone?
Yes.
Mr. Ennisaitis?
Yes.
Mrs. Flanagan?
Yes.
Mrs. Bianca?
Yes.
Mr. Stokel?
Yes.
Mr. DeGiulio?
Yes.
Great. The motion to approve the consent agenda. We'll go right into E. I need a discussion. I need a motion to approve.
Civil.
I need a motion to approve the phone contract with Ring Central.
I'll make the motion. I'll second it.
Discussion.
I'd like to talk the table that motion. I've been looking at the spreadsheet of the different systems in question. I've been working hard to discuss with Dr. O'Malley and other people on the board. We just received a response from one of the vendors this morning. Been working to reduce the costs, and we just really haven't had a chance to go over all of the items on the different comparisons in the spreadsheet. I think it's preemptive to put that on the agenda. Another thing is that just my quick view of a lot of the information in that spreadsheet, it's a lot of the information is not accurate, and the numbers are not accurate. You know, these type of systems are important. Being an expert in the field in this, I have a lot of issues with the proposed solution, which is why we've been working hard to find a solution that was more of a presence-based solution. We talk a lot about security and safety and E911, and you know, we build these systems all the time, and it's important that not just to mention safety. The proposed solution on the agenda, which I was a little shocked to see, is deficient in some of those areas. So I think we need to spend some more time to look at the quote that was just sent this morning in response to trying to reduce the cost to meet within our budget, so that we can pick the proper solution for the future of the school, with the spirit of safety and all the work that's been done by the Security Solutions Company. That's my comment.
So we have a motion on the table to table this item. So I need a second for a motion to table it, and then we can take a roll call on that. If it's tabled, then we move on. If it's not tabled, then we'll take a vote on the motion according to Robert's rules of procedure.
Can you ask questions?
Yes, you could.
Well, I just had some questions about the Ring contract versus the next one that was listed, as far as there was only about a $6,000 difference, and I today just did a very rudimentary search of both of the companies online, and Ring didn't have the best online reviews as far as customer service, and so that to me raised some red flags about if this is really the company that we as a district would want to embrace and or contract with to provide our phone services. And and I didn't know if you could touch on like the contact person that you've been working with from them and the experience and the feeling that you got from that.
Yeah, so what we did is we took into consideration four issues. Number one, does the phone system have E911 services? All of them have E911 services. Number two, we have a budget of $50,000. Keep in mind, Dr. Schilling had $50,000 for the fire alarm, which came in at under $50,000. It was $49,000. 3 of the top 4 that are listed came in under the $50,000 marker. Okay. The third thing is we looked at the principals just having the ability to call a lockdown. In our current circumstances, they can call a lockdown. So we have the intercom at both of our schools so they can call the lockdown. Granted, they can't do it from every classroom. We have not been able to do that, but they can call it from the main offices. And we do have walkie-talkies that we've now given to our staff, as well as our administration is testing out the panic button, so we do have that. The last factor is the timeline in which it takes to put it in. And we did not get the grant. We were not eligible for the grant because there are municipalities such as Rockford, there are municipalities such as Zion, as well as a few others that did get the federal dollars. The individual who wrote our grant said that we were highly recommended to apply again. That doesn't mean you're going to get the grant. And so for our purposes, we put in there an item that would fit within the context of those 4 issues. And so we provided a very robust spreadsheet based on questions we received from the board. So there were questions that came back and forth. We kept updating it, we kept updating it, we kept updating it. The newest proposal that was given to us by the 4th provider is included in that spreadsheet. And so again, you could look at it. We've done a year analysis in terms of what would the cost be on a yearly basis, but we've also done it for a year. And as I've stated to the board, I don't care what kind of gym shoe you like. If you like Adidas, that's fine. If you like Nike, that's great. If you like Yeezys, that's good too. Whatever your shoe preference is, I leave that up to the board. I'm not a phone person. I just look to basically make a phone call, and whatever that phone call is, if it's calling a teacher in the classroom, if it's calling 911, that's what's important for me. And so there's going to be pros and cons for all the systems that we've provided. I will share with you that Ring Central did lend us a phone. They did come out on site and they lent us a phone that we can test at the Giles front office, and it worked very well. And so those are some things to take into consideration.
So some of those points that you mentioned we've been debating over the last couple of weeks, it's not 100% accurate. So and we're not doing an apples to apples comparison, and that's really important. And when you look into 2 different types of solutions, so a cloud-based solution versus an on-premise solution. In my professional experience, which is, I'm not an expert in a lot of things that we do here at the school. However, in this, I am. Doing a hosted-based solution without having the proper network infrastructure in place to deal with redundancy is just not. It's not something that's recommended. If we go you look at numbers from basically a monthly fee into numbers from a hosted-based solution or an on-premise solution. Obviously, the initial investment is very high. And I say very meaning higher, but over the long term, you see how those numbers then even out. The numbers on the spreadsheet are not accurate to what I can see is what the initial cost would be. I wasn't in charge of putting the number on the spreadsheet, so again, in my opinion, I like to take a look at that. My quick numbers from an initial investment on hardware installation from what's required in us being in a position where we have to really cut corners and cut costs, it's not even accurate to the 70-some thousand that's on the spreadsheet. So, with that said, it's very, very important that that we take a look at that. Maybe take a look at it using a cloud solution. If there were 2 solutions that were presence-based, this would be a different discussion. But the cloud-based solutions, I've been saying it from the beginning, are not going to meet our needs. If the internet goes down and all the phones across the district don't work, the service level agreements that we have with the internet service providers is not fast enough to fix the problem. At least we want to be able to communicate between schools and be able to send out alerts and do all these things. So, if anybody wants to talk more about it, I can go into great detail, but I don't think the community wants to endure all of that. But there are things on here that are just not accurate from a reality perspective.
Why do you think they're inaccurate? Just are these numbers given to us by the companies in the proposal? So if
Yeah,
they're
so just-
inaccurate, wouldn't that?
Yeah, just looking at the number from the provider, the on-premise based solution, it should be like 52,000 all in. That goes a little bit above the $50,000 budget. However, in the long term, when we add the second school, the cost is not very large. When you use a hosted-based solution, you're paying per phone per month. So when you add phones, you just multiply. The multiplier when you're using an on-premise solution is not the same multiplier; it's a fraction. So you don't have to keep purchasing more per phone charges. And then after around the third year, we make it this way on purpose so they can be in the same ballpark as other solutions. Around the third year, now you start having to pay more because you're paying per month. And changing from one of those systems to another system is very difficult because you've already made an investment in hardware. And then to do the project's difficult. So, in my professional opinion, you always want to put a solution in place that puts you into the future so you can make changes and do things into the future and not have to keep reinventing the wheel. The two main things that I would say as far as the accuracy is E911 compliance. E911 works in a cloud solution. However, the management is very difficult. So if you move a phone from this office to another office, which happens all the time in companies and schools and districts and park districts, you have to do a lot of work on the back end to change the location, and someone has to manage that. And in my experience, it doesn't happen. So what ends up happening is we make a phone breaks. We bring a phone to Giles. Someone calls 911. Now the police go to Lee. I mean, I know we're in the same community, but this happens all the time. So the solutions that are on-premise based solutions work with the network, so they know when you move phones around, they automatically solve that problem. So that avoids any potential issues with E911 compliance. If the internet goes down, E911 doesn't work. That's a big problem. So those are two main issues with cloud solutions. I support the cloud because I'm a network engineer. However, the network infrastructure in the enterprise or in the district would have to be up to par to do that, and it's not. So that's why I'm pushing back.